Thank you for joining Story Universe. Today I'll be going over 5 different stories in which Athena makes an appearance. So who is Athena? Athena is one of many gods and goddesses in the Greek mythology. She is the daughter of Zeus, the mightiest god in Olympus. She has no mother, but rather she was born out of Zeus's own head, fully grown and fully armored. She was Zeus's favorite child and was trusted in some stories to carry his weapon of choice, the thunderbolt. She is the goddess of war and wisdom. In the Iliad, she is seen as ruthless and fierce, but in some stories, she is only warlike when defending Athens, her home city. She is one of 3 virgin goddesses and is called the Maiden. They described Athena as beautiful, with gray eyes full of knowledge. She is dressed in her armor, which include her helmet, shield, and spear. Throughout her history, she was never known to take a lover or marry. She had a variety of symbols, the bird being her owl, city being Athens, and her tree, the olive tree. So now that we know a little bit about Athena, let's get into the stories. This first story speaks on how Athena became the protector of Athens. Prior to the city being called Athens, it was called Attica. Attica's king was Cecrops. Athena and Poseidon both wanted to claim the city. They both provided gifts to the city to show who would be the better benefactor. Poseidon struck the rock of the Acropolis with his trident, and out sprang salt water from where he struck, and the water flowed into a deep well. Athena gifted them the olive tree, which is the most treasured tree in Greece. Cecrops' vote went to Athena. In other stories, they say that the vote was divided by women and men. Women supported Athena and men supported Poseidon. The majority of the population being women caused Athena to win the vote. In both stories, Poseidon flooded the city because of the results, but either way, Athena came out winning the city. This second story discusses how Athena assisted a young man in conquering Pegasus. In the city of Corinth, there was a young, beautiful man named Bellerophon. Bellerophon greatly desired to rule over Pegasus. Pegasus is the white-winged horse who was created out of the blood of the Gorgon Medusa, who was killed by Perseus. A wise seer of Corinth told Bellerophon to sleep in the temple of Athena, for she was known to appear to people as they slept. He did just as suggested. That night, he was awakened by a voice. It was Athena standing before him. As he rose in her place, laid a golden bridle. He used this bridle to tame Pegasus and succeeded. It was almost effortless. Many more adventures came after Bellerophon and Pegasus teamed up, but it would have never happened without the help of Athena's golden bridle. In the play Trojan Woman, during the night of Greeks' victory over Troy, Cassandra was hiding in Athena's temple. The Greeks entered the temple, finding Cassandra clinging to Athena's image. Ajax, the main culprit, ripped her away from the image and raped her. This enraged Athena, especially since Athena is known for her purity. She assisted the Greeks with victory, and this is how they repay her. She pled her case to Poseidon and requested the seas cause the Greeks as much trouble as possible on their way home. He agreed. We all know the story of Odysseus, who was lost at sea for 10 epic years. But what of Ajax? His ship was taken under by a huge storm. He survived, yet this did not humble him. He screamed out that he had survived while clinging to the edge of a cliff. Poseidon does not like to be made a fool. He quickly broke off the edge in which Ajax was clinging to, and he drowned in Poseidon's waters. In other stories, Ajax wanted to be the owner of the armor of the deceased Achilles. He was able to obtain it, but Odysseus was also the one who desired the armor. The Greeks then decided among each other that Odysseus deserved the armor. That night, Ajax decided he would attack the Greeks for having gone against him. Athena intervened and made Ajax temporarily insane. Instead of attacking the Greeks, he attacked a flock of sheep. When he came back to his senses, he was so ashamed of himself, he killed himself with the sword Hector had given him. The Greek gods are well known for inventing musical instruments. Athena invented the flute to play for the gods during a banquet. Hera and Aphrodite laughed at her because of the way her cheeks puffed up when she played. They mocked her and called her ugly. Afterwards, she saw herself in a spring while she was playing her flute and saw how deformed her face was. She threw the flute away and stated whoever were to play this flute would be severely punished. Mars found the flute and practiced until he was perfect. He challenged Apollo himself, one of the greatest musicians among the gods. Apollo agreed, but whoever lost would be severely punished, just as Athena promised. Mars played the flute and Apollo played his lyre. Marsyas put up a good fight, even at points matching Apollo's talent. The judges in some stories were the Muses, and in other, Midas. In the end, Marsyas did not win. The gods never are happy when challenged, especially when it's not an easy victory. Apollo chose the punishment. He tied Marsyas to a tree and flayed him. He then displayed his skin to show others the results of challenging him. Athena's warning was fulfilled. This last story is known to be the true reason behind the Trojan War, and why the gods and goddesses decided which side they would be on. Eris, the goddess of discord, was always left out by the other gods. One of these infamous instances being the marriage of King Peleus and the sea nymph Thetis. She was set on causing havoc. In the middle of the event, she threw a golden apple with a label saying, "To the fairest." All the goddesses believed they deserved this apple. It came down to 3 goddesses, Hera, Aphrodite, and Athena. Everyone suggested Zeus be the judge, but for once he actually made the right choice and declined. He then suggested Paris, the son of the king of Troy, to be the judge. He told the goddesses to go to the top of Mount Ida, and there they would find Paris watching over his sheep. Paris had been banished there by his father due to a prophecy saying Paris would bring the destruction of Troy. The goddesses appeared before Paris, but they did not tell him to determine the fairest, but instead they bribed him. The best gift would win. Hera said he would be given Europe and Asia. Athena promised that she would lead the Trojans to victory against the Greeks and lay their cities to ruin. Aphrodite promised him the fairest woman in the world. The golden apple was given to Aphrodite. Thank you again for joining in and listening to Story Universe. I hope you enjoyed these stories. If you would like some more, please hit that like button and subscribe. I would love to hear your suggestions. I hope you guys have a good rest of the day or night, and thank you again. Hope to see you soon.